jumped into the night city and ran to a convenience store in search of light. As I ran, I trapped my cell phone, accessing Ikagabuchi. And then I looked at the forum from end to end. I don't care if it was Kurasu or Sue or Yoichi or anyone. I desperately looked for someone I knew, and then I saw it in a thread titled Mysterious Dimension Star Issei Jingu. A mere 30 minutes ago, Yoichi had posted. Ignoring the serious discussion of how to see Yada no Kagami or the Kotai Ginju, I posted there. Hey Yoichi, help me. The occult maniacs who had their debate interrupted laughed at my spontaneous post, but I ignored them. Yoichi, you're reading this, aren't you? Talk to me, he's still following me. But of course, Yoichi never answered, and it just angered the Issei Jingu maniacs. Even after reaching the convenience store, I looked around Ikagabuchi while I was in the parking lot. I tried writing in places that Yoichi might find interesting to contact me immediately, but maybe I'd posted too often because the entire forum rose up in arms calling me a spammer. If I got banned, I'd have trouble contacting her, so I started responding, "No, I'm not a spammer, I'm seriously in trouble," but people just coolly responded that that was spamming. Eventually others began calling me wannabe, and I got pissed off and eventually shouted at them, "You scum occult maniacs," and the flames continued. It was like 100 versus 1 as the flames continued being spat. Right as I was feeling like the world was against me, and I was about to slam my phone against the ground. "Are you Nagi?" Someone wrote that. When I looked at the name, it said Krishna. That name was like a miracle descending upon me, and I almost crumbled to the ground. I tried to type a response, but my fingers were trembling too much. As I struggled like that, Krishna posted again, and it said, "Come to the place written on the card I gave you this afternoon." Ah! It was past 2 a.m. I left my bicycle behind, so I plotted my way to the university on foot. My way! Oh, those are terrible mistakes. Of course, the front gate was closed, and the security guard looked at me suspiciously. In an effort to escape from that look, I took a wide arc and then went along the fencing towards the line of Zelkova trees on the left. After you walk a bit here, you get to the western wing, which housed the Beatnik Research Club room. Kurimoto Shina, Krishna. I was so careless, I noticed nothing. But the administrator of Ikagabuchi, Krishna, was a person who attended the same university. And for that baby-faced girl to be Krishna was unimaginable. I went straight to the furthest room and was shocked when I entered. There were still some students inside chatting with each other. I felt a bit exasperated, as though this were some sort of Nevernight castle, but I guess this was just the way it was for students, and so I felt a bit embarrassed about myself still being afraid of ghosts. My feet felt heavy as I arrived at the Beatnik Research Club on the 3rd floor, and I saw light on the other side of the smoked glass. I knocked on the door and heard a familiar voice, so I said, "It's Nagi, Yamada Nagito. It's open. Excuse me." When I opened the door, I found myself facing an empty, concrete-walled room of about 10 tatamis. There's a single steel cabinet placed against a wall. In the middle was a relatively large work table, and there were 4 seats placed around the table and 3 people seated. In the middle was the baby-faced girl who'd given me a business card in my classroom. The red-framed glasses were odd as usual, but she was wearing what seemed to be a priestess outfit, stained in black, had on a takegata, and sat on a seat. That suited her too well. I had no interest in such types, but I could almost understand how people who like lolis and people who like cosplay felt, which was scary. Are you Krishna?" I asked, and the girl made a disdainful face and nodded. "I warned you to leave that house immediately." "Huh? Kurasu told you nothing?" "Nothing at all." And then Krishna cutely clicked her tongue and said, "Well, come in." I looked around the room again, and next to the small occult site administrator was a woman who seemed to be in their late 20s and did not seem like a student, wearing simple, white Eastern clothing, and a bald, middle-aged man wearing monk attire who no matter what looked nothing at all like a student. I didn't know how to greet them, so I just stood bewildered at the entrance, and Krishna made a motion with her small chin to sit there. I sat down on the chair that had been prepared for me, and the middle-aged monk stood behind me and grabbed my shoulders with his thick arms. Hey, what's going on? And then Krishna pushed her glasses up and asked, "Why are you trying to see the other side on your own accord?" And then she began lecturing me in a stern voice. Alright, as long as we don't look, they can't see us either. You can have interest in the occult. It's natural and unavoidable if people have interest in things that are a little understood. Still, the other side is the other side's business. To them, not being able to see does not count as an excuse. Even if you can't see them, humans have enough power to be able to feel them. This is eerie. Then immediately understand that there's something you can't see and pay it due respect. In the face of her stern look, I, the fool, could understand. So basically I've been possessed, I asked tearfully. At this rate, you're pretty screwed. Her expression became even sterner, and I froze. Krishna, said a woman in white clothes. She had no makeup on and held a strangely shaped rosary in her hand. It's already gotten a bit inside. What inside? Can you pull it out here? I'll try. The two of them finished their strange conversation. Wait, Krishna, who are these two? I asked as I tried to escape from the strong monk. Investigators for Ikaikubuchi, answered Krishna bluntly. Investigators? I'll explain later. Just shut up and stay still. It's no use. The host isn't here. I heard a female voice from far away. We have to go to that house. And you're right. The middle-aged man in Krishna's voice also echoed a bit, like a record that was losing some speed. I'd begun to slump down. The monk was strong, but that wasn't the only reason. It was as if I never noticed that I was on the verge of toppling over under extreme weight, and as soon as I realized that, my body's senses frantically tried to show me the level of exhaustion I felt. I felt that sort of exhaustion, one that tried to sink me into a bottomless pit. You can't move? Then don't move, Krishna said in a mysteriously kind voice, and then I lost consciousness. To be honest, I don't remember much after that. I think I was loaded into a car, and then I think there was a lot of shaking. My consciousness came back because I felt a familiar sense of cold on my skin, one that seemed to want to wring me dry. My body was still heavy and my consciousness felt like mud, but my life instincts seemed to shout, "This place is bad." When I came to, I was in front of that house. The middle-aged man was carrying me on his back, climbing up the stairs to the second floor. No, I don't want to come here anymore. I wanted to shout, but in reality I couldn't even move my fingertips. Not caring for my will, I was carried forth by the middle-aged man and stood in front of the entrance to that house alongside Krishna and the white-colored woman. Krishna easily opened the door. I thought I'd locked the door, but it opened without a key. Inside glowed an ethereal light. Who? Said Krishna sharply. I forced shut my resistant eyelids. No, I don't want to see. I didn't care who was inside. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. I give up. I decided right there and then. If I were able to wake up safely tomorrow, I would go straight back home to Shizuoka. In the end, it was impossible for me to live alone in the demonic city, Tokyo. I wanted to turn around the fortunes of my family business, and I came to Tokyo to study for it. But I'm too much of a wuss to live alone. I'm better off living in the rural area surrounded by family and friends. My father and sister who opposed my decision were right after all. Oh, mother supported me, but I felt apologetic toward her. I tried my best, but these happenings, I couldn't expect them and I could do nothing. Come inside and close the door, someone said from inside the house. I recognized that voice, cold, clear, but somehow decisive. If you want to know what's to happen, then you should do that. Right, this voice. Yoichi. My whisper echoed through the silence. Yoichi? Yoishi's lackadaisical voice saying "Good evening" overlapped Krishna's incredulous voice. There was a spare key near the sewer entrance below, so I used that to come in. Let's go in. At Krishna's voice, the middle-aged man entered the foyer while carrying me, and then he took off his shoes and continued to the living quarters. Krishna and the white-cloth woman followed behind. When I looked past the middle-aged man's shoulder, I saw Yoichi already sitting in the middle of the empty living quarters with a candle inside an empty can. A dim light came from that. "Who are you and what are you doing here?" Krishna sounded as if she was scolding, but Yoichi answered lackadaisically again. "Quiet. If you brought that person here, then you too already understand what's going on in this house." "Yoichi, I see." Krishna groaned. "You're Yoichi. You're the child posting on Ikagabuchi." Yoichi continued her silence, but Krishna clicked her tongue and continued. "I have no problem with you having an interest in the occult, but having an interest in actually tiptoeing on the edge is different. You should realize that you're playing in a hazy boundary." "No worries," Yoichi flatly responded to Krishna's harsh tone. "I have confidence only in that conviction." Wow, she's undeterred by this angry Krishna. This is why girls are scary. My big sis was scary too, and when mother snapped, she was scarier than father. However, Krishna sounded a bit lonely. I know. I've seen children like you before. That's why I say it. People who harbor expectations from the depth of the darkness, they always drag humans into the darkness too, even if they don't mean to. That's extremely dangerous. The middle-aged man slowly let me down from his shoulder and laid me by the wall in a sitting posture, and I had nothing to do but listen to the conversation. My powerless body felt like it was being dragged about, and I could only feel an endless sense of helplessness. What happened here, what's happening here, and what's about to happen here, everything was off the rail my life had been following. I could do nothing here. All I could do was listen to the creepy conversation and be an observer to a creepy act. However, more than the desire to learn the truth, my desire to run away was stronger. As soon as possible, I wanted to go out into a bright place. Krishna. Just then, the monk stepped in between the two. It started. Along with his words, that sound began. From somewhere in the building, that sound echoed. Scratch, 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 scratch. As if overpowering everything, only that sound echoed. Something was grinding together. Something was carving together. The sound was the loudest I'd heard. It was almost as if something was trying to crush this place from outside, and I frantically looked around. I was completely in tears, and only the creepy sound filled the world. "Please stop. Forgive me." As I started tearfully screaming, Yoichi said, "Wonderful." Her happy voice entered my ears, and I became enraged. "Wonderful? Are you seriously insane? It's beyond sanity to sneak into a house with a ghost milling about using a single candle and just sit there. I get it. You're a friend of ghosts. That's great. Can you tell your friend to stop scaring me? I'm sorry for barging in on your house, but I don't know. I cleaned up after myself and left, so stop bothering me and go away. Tell the friend to stop following me to my new place and giving me a countdown. I don't know what sort of grudge they have against the world, but I'm completely unrelated, so stop. Tell them." Of course, my body wouldn't move, and neither would my mouth, but I begged Yoichi with my all. However, Yoichi didn't understand my feelings at all. "Hey, scared?" I heard an inexplicable, hopeful voice in my ear. It seemed Yoichi had come right next to me, but I couldn't open my eyes, so I screamed at her with my soul. Of course I'm scared. I'm super scared. My body won't move and I don't get it, and some sound is echoing through my head, and only cycles of ghosts are around me. Right, this house only has cycles now. A psychotic administrator who gathers and edits creepy articles. A psychotic woman holding some bizarre weapon, despite being of age. Some psychotic balder who only seems to have muscle building as a hobby. And you, a girl covered in... No, come back. Covered in black, straight-fronted girl. Her some douche ghost that never shows itself but does annoying crates like carved numbers. Seriously, cut that shit out. Are you just enjoying your emergency offline meeting right now? You're all just waiting for me to keep my pants on your. Hey, come back. It's wrong. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to see those numbers anymore. X is 1, then what? What's next? I don't want to know. If you're gonna come and just do it. Stop cornering me and shit. However, at some point the sound had stopped. My dark world with my tightly shut eyes had become filled with silence. What happened? I became worried that everyone had left, but I was so afraid that if I were to open my eyes, something else would be there. Still, I couldn't just stay like this. I was tired. I'd begun to feel reckless. If you're gonna kill me, kill me. I don't want to get cornered and hunted just like this. Just give me a bad end already. I opened my tearful eyes, but I just saw a house unchanged from before. And everyone was there. Krishna stood in front of the door to the bedroom. The white-clothed woman stood in the middle of the living room with her eyes closed. The monk lingered by my side, and only Yoichi was looking at me with no emotion. Everyone was standing at the same spot they were before I closed my eyes. I gazed with my teary eyes at Yoichi's eyes, and then she nodded. And then she looked down. I followed her sight to my feet. As if cutting across the space between my feet, a thick wound had been carved into the floor. Ah! I screamed and pulled my sluggish body away, but my hip wouldn't respond, and so all I could do was flail in place. However, I tried to scramble away anyways. You know what's coming. It was 1. 1, the end. I'm tired of this. I want to go home. I want to go back to Shizuoka. Calm down, Nagi, said Krishna. At some point she started calling me Nagi, but I didn't care as I tried to crawl away. I was too busy trying to flee from the number. No, what's the point of staying here? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen to me? Get a grip, Nagi. Krishna sounded again. God damn it must be the monk. Some heavy impact struck my back, and after that the white-clothed woman said something I couldn't understand. It was filled with strange rhymes I'd never heard before, countless words that made me go ahead and made my head go insane. But then as I frantically flailed about, the black long skirt blocked my way. It was Yoichi, dressed in obsidian as always. Move, I said with a trembling voice, but this time it was not glass beads, it was not glimmering, but rather this time Yoichi had a fascinated look as she reached out with her hand. Give me that. That? What you're holding, that, she said, and I looked at what I held in my hands. There was the key to the apartment. It was a key that I had left in my pocket. I was holding it backwards, and on the end of it was wood. For a while I didn't know what it meant. And then the wood fell off onto the one that had been cut ominously at my feet. What? No way. No way, that... Yes, Yoichi said in a whisper. The one that was carving numbers into this house was always you. With those words, my consciousness was filled with white.